Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Yeah. So again, take your moment to create a sacred space consciously. You know, we're all the time sacred. It's just our intention and focus in a certain energy that we want to create. It's what brings it out of us and makes us aware and conscious of it, and then it increases. So let's do this again together. And bring yourself into your center of your being, or as Peggy would say, center above, center below. Focus on your core energy. Take a slow or as many as you need breath. Bringing your attention back to your heart, the center of your being. That place of gratitude, of balance, of peace, of benevolence, of kindness, all the noble attributes that come into your mind, into your heart, into your being right now, just naturally coming into your field, whatever they are, bring them closer to you. From the field of infinite potentials that your Merkabas are connected to in a strong intention of coherence we're building now, again, consciously, creating a beautiful confluence of energies between all of us in the room and beyond. Bring into your field that potential that you want to have in your life. Make it as visual, as bright, as real, as much as you allow for it. Breathe. See it present as if it is happening right now. Right now. Right now. And if there is someone, or if there's a friend, if there's a family member, if there's a four-legged friend, if there's an area that you want to bring into this field of coherence and balance, a field of healing, see them in this field together with us, because when you see them and feel them, they are with us. This is real. See them fully present with you. And allow yourself to feel even more. How much more you can love yourself, you will open more with your love to others. Feel the meld within you, the being within you, melding with the higher self, spirit. Can you feel that in this space now emerge a connectedness, an alliance, an unbreakable bond that is between you and your many parts of you that are in the now, that are in the future, that has been before, all connected in a beautiful fabric of light, all connected as one living being. Breathe. Allow this expansion to grow even more, even more. As you feel that energy shifting into the place that has no beginning and no end. No beginning and no end. That is always in a circle, always in a circle, always in a circle of love. Take another breath. Remember when you first came here, just a few moments ago. It was yesterday, but it was like just a few moments ago. You shifted so much. Your experience, you allowed yourself to feel more of your true beingness from Source. Hold that energy as strong, powerful, magnificent soul you really are. And always remember that it's always with you, always with you. None of us is ever alone. Breathe. And let us open once more in a big-heartedness, heart openness, energy. Open even more to the wisdom, the energy, the essence of love and beauty and infinite energy from Alanahi as she channels Anya, the wisdom of the Divine Feminine, and from Kryon as it comes through Lee, for the guidance, love, joy, and honor that they have for you. Eheye Asher Eheye. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai.
I am Anya, here in service in the time of the Great Evolution, initiator of the universal calibration lattice, an energetic structure for you to be able to be at home wherever you are upon the planet, in multidimensional awareness, for that multidimensional awareness is about to grow. I also brought you the gifts of the 36 templates of light and energy. They will help you as you become more aware of how to channel the wholeness of your being, the original resonance. Will it ever be fully channeled through in this place? Of course not. But can you channel much more of who you are? Can you? Are you willing? You now have energetic light structures to support you, to expand your consciousness, your expression, and your understanding of what it means to be wise, wholehearted, multidimensional you. We are very pleased, for you have said yes to yourselves at a very deep level. It always delights us to remind you that you are greatly loved and to invite you to love greatly, beginning with yourself. First message we wish to give is one of honoring you for all that you have experienced. Sometimes smiling, sometimes not. The imposed limitations, you are now seeing the illusion of many of the limitations, but we want to acknowledge you found ways, even within the limitations, to co-create more of who you are. You did very well, more than you know. You've been in a multidimensional box, and you've learned to build very well. And that box no longer exists. Can you feel it? Might feel a little funny at first, for the limits that you once knew are now dissolving. Most of you are quite happy with this. A few of you are saying, am I sure? It won't take you long before you say, I am sure. You will breathe even deeper, become more aware, love with greater frequencies, and be fully present as you can be in these bodies, with these brains, with these nervous systems, with these hearts. You understand? We have a few more messages. Be willing to open. Allow the curiosity to feed you. For many of you are still saying, yes, 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 I see the limitations are dissolving, but there's still a holding on. And so we're going to ask you to practice in nature, wherever you'd like. I would ask you to refrain from doing this in the supermarket, but open your arms and be fully aware and know that you are part of all of this. You may do it in the supermarket if you so choose, but be ready for some strange reactions. You may do that whichever you please, as you continue to open yourself to the curiosity and to the new creative consciousness, star consciousness. It is time. Oh my goodness, hold on. For indeed, you are opening all these new channels, and the 144 points of light within the brain are responding in ways we have not seen before, rising higher than they have been. For you are ready to intuit and to express the new intelligence from the holographic wholeness of the universe. It will be interesting to see what you choose to express and how to express it. But the time has come. There are just a few more things we want to say. And one of them is to address you as the human being and the human doing. For far too long, there were many who said, I've become a human doing, and I'm not doing that anymore. I am a human being. You have now reached the moment where the time you came for is here. And we ask you to contemplate what it means to you to know when to be still, to be the human being, and when to take action, to be the human doing, to co-create the new realities upon the planet. Does that make sense to you? So revisit your rising again. You are willing to balance your masculine and your feminine, your being and your doing. You are much wiser than you've ever been. Can you feel it? And with the wisdom can come smiles, happiness, appreciation of self and that which can be accomplished. May you amaze yourself. And when you do, you can make the announcement, I have just amazed myself. It is more than acceptable to honor yourself, to honor your sense of soul, your sense of wholeness. We have given you 2 activations these days, filled with a great deal of encouragement, words charged with energy. You have that in your possession. You now know of the 36 templates. It is now time for you to know God within, expressing through you the energy of your wholeness. And when you say, I am willing to become more of who I am, to feel that fullness, to know it. You are multidimensional. Just a few things to consider. There's multidimensional you when you tend to your body, pampering you. There is multidimensional you as the athlete when you decide to exercise. There is multidimensional you as the housekeeper caring for your home. There is multidimensional you co-creating new realities. Enjoy all these expressions of who you are. Take a little bit of time to define them a bit more. Know your superpowers. You all have them. Are you ready? Our time together is complete. The activations are complete. And yet, as we are unique and united, we shall continue together, as much or as little as you like. I am Anya, here in service in the time of the Great Evolution, delighted to remind you, you are greatly loved. In great honor, I invite you to love greatly. And in a way we have spoken to one another again and again, many times before. All is well. All is well. It is. It is.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. It is the end, the last day, of 2 loving conferences where there's been great knowledge shared, great love, epiphanies, and all the things that old souls come for. This channel will be one of celebration of you. Indeed, there may be an instruction or 2, but it's about you. Dear ones, we've given many channels how God sees you, including one in this of 2 conferences. But in this new energy, there's going to be a great discovery. Among all of the things that we have mentioned that you can do, that you perhaps were not able to do in the way we are discussing before, there is an overall discovery to be made. As you take a look at the planet and you take a look at spiritual systems and basic understanding of God or the Creator or Spirit, whatever you want to call it, if you look at that, there's a sameness. That God is in the sky and you are sitting in the chair. There is a feeling of worship from the low to the high. There is a feeling that God is unattainable because God is that which exists beyond your comprehension or understanding. And as a human being, sometimes you just got to stop and realize that you are lower than the Almighty. And this is the prevailing attitude. If you look at those belief systems all over the planet, the majority of them suppress humanity and enhance the divine. And therefore you spend your life trying to climb the stairs to attain some kind of communication. Perhaps climb the stairs so you can be closer to touch the face of God. You know what I'm speaking of. This is a time of light. Light creates awareness. You're aware of the surroundings around you like you were not before. You're aware of your, perhaps, intelligence in a way you were not aware of before, because it takes you to new places. You're aware that the relationship to the Almighty, as you've been told, may not be exactly what you were told. The discovery will start small. And there will be those who start to understand that God is bigger than anything you've ever been told, and it includes you, not excludes you. In the inclusion factor, the discovery will come in waves from those you don't expect, who perhaps never would sit in a room like this. Perhaps they would be the high priests of certain religions who would say, we've had an epiphany and we're going to rewrite it all for you. There'll be those systems of belief who once would have suppressed humans, who let them expand. In other words, mainstream religion may actually change. Instead of the downfall of a church, there might be the enhancement of the church. Would you be all right with that? This will be perhaps the largest spiritual discovery on the planet of all time. And more would grasp that idea that perhaps they're included in the creation and God is inside, to the degree where you have a piece of the Creator with you. And then the second wave of that discovery, not only are you allied with the Creator in a way that enhances you, but then you start to understand the relationship to the Creator. One of your main religions on the planet, which includes more than 1 billion people, will talk about a prophet that they call the Son of God. there will be the understanding of that relationship to every single one of you. And you become family, like that one you are. More than just God inside, but of the family of the Creator. The third wave of that whole Discovery series will be that in this galaxy, this planet shines like the sun because it is becoming aware suddenly where it was in the dark before. And that awareness and that glow of this planet will alert other planets that are also glowing. And at that point in time, you will meet the others. This planet, when it starts to vibrate higher, will send out signals in so many ways that it's safe to be here from the other parts of the galaxy that know that they are also family. And that's when you'll meet them. The celebration is that you are here today to hear this, and it's believable. The celebration is that these things may not happen exactly when you think they will, but old soul, you'll be here to see them. You may look a little different, but you'll be here. That is your legacy. That is written in your Akash. All of these things that I speak of. That's the
32
celebration.
seconds into the flight.
That the process.
The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance down in the bucket.
If you want to
reducing the
enhance
stress on
the
shuttle as
process,
it goes transonic.
Even in this low energy, I want to review with you
T-minus 10, 9,
how to spread
8,
the light.
7,
What
6,
it really might mean.
5,
In a metaphor that we gave originally when we arrived.
0, and lift
Although the
off
metaphor
of
may be
Space Shuttle
old,
Atlantis on a mission to build, resupply,
the lesson
and to do
is
research
still
on the
very,
International
very
Space
new.
Station.
And the one that I
Houston
speak
now
of
controlling.
is the
Atlantis
lighthouse.
begins its penultimate journey to shore up the
If
International
you take a
Space
look
Station.
at a lighthouse on this planet,
Atlantis now
why
in
it's
proper
built,
alignment
how
for
it
its 8.5
functions,
minute line
what
to
it's
orbit,
for, and the
4.5
result of
million
it,
pounds of hardware and
it's
humans
almost a
taking
complete
aim on the
and total
International
metaphor
outpost.
of you. The lighthouse is built in
30
troubled
seconds
areas.
into the flight. Atlantis almost 2 miles in
Also,
altitude, almost
you
6
carry
miles
light.
downrange from the
Don't
Kennedy
be
Space
shocked
Center already,
if you
traveling
find
500
yourself
miles an hour.
in metaphoric troubled areas, including
The 3 liquid
perhaps
fuel main
even your
engines now
family.
throttling back to 72% of rated performance,
The
going
lighthouse
into
is
the bucket,
built
reducing the
on
stress on the shuttle as it
areas
breaks
so
through
that
the
it
sound
can
barrier.
shine the light and keep others from perhaps crashing into the rocks. All those ships that would come would see the lighthouse and go around so they'd be safe. The old soul carries light, so wherever they walk on the planet, people will feel the essence of who they are, or the compassion, and perhaps will not do the things they would have done otherwise because they have a word with you or are loved by you. You have the ability, as the lighthouse that moves around, to do things a lighthouse could never do, that stays in one place. You indeed shine a light, metaphorically, in dark places wherever you walk. And you may not be aware of it. You walk into a room, and the room feels different to those who are in it. And that is your field that we have spoken of so many times that you're unaware of. That is the soul that you visited even today that you're unaware of. That does multidimensional things even in the air around those you don't even know. The sea captains who would see that light and steer around and save their ships don't know the lighthouse keeper. There is one lighthouse keeper in an old system of lighthouses. Only one lives on the little rock and lights the light every night. That's you. Alone. You may be with other light workers, but in your own way, in your own soul, in the things that you are responsible for, individually, you're alone. You have your light, just like the light keeper. This is the task of the old soul on the planet. And so many of you are now becoming aware. And it doesn't have to be hard. You climb the stairs when the sun is sinking down.
T-minus 10,
You get
9,
ready to light the light.
8,
Imagine
7,
this.
6,
The light has to be
5. We have to go from ready to start. 2,
There's an arc there
1,
to strike.
0.
So the
Booster
light
ignition
will come on
and
super bright.
liftoff of Shuttle Endeavour with NASA's
Start
final
then to
space
alert
station crew
all
compartment
around them.
that brings a bay window view to our celestial
Steer clear of the
backyard.
danger. Only in your case, when you climb the stairs and strike the light, suddenly you don't just shine a light. Suddenly a hand comes down and grasps yours
This is mission
and says, "Thank you, dear ones, for being part of the family."
It's now in a heads down position on
That
track
hand
for its
comes
flight to
down
the
and you
International
grasp
Space
it
Station.
metaphorically, because that is your light. That is
Go
the
for main engine
composite
start.
light that you're shining. That will
We have
carry
main
you
engine
from
start.
place to place. You don't have to do it
2,
alone.
1.
The guides, the
Booster
angels,
ignition,
all that we have spoken
and the
of
final
are
liftoff of
involved
Discovery.
in that
A
light.
tribute to the dedication,
And lighting
hard
it
work,
and keeping it
pride
lit
of
and
America's
moving from
space
place to
shuttle
place
team.
and knowing which way to
Shuttle has
go
cleared the tower.
and where to seek help. It's not always easy.
Mission Control Houston. Space
Before I
shuttle
close,
rolls over onto its
I'll
back
give you a
with
scenario
10-minute ride into orbit.
Of
Discovery
holding
now
the
making
light,
one last
spreading the
reach
light.
for the stars.
It may surprise you. Let us say you've come to this conference. Let us pretend for a moment you have a partner that did not and doesn't agree with it. Let's just pretend. In fact, perhaps that partner thinks you're just a little silly.
1 minute now to touchdown. Discovery's landing
Perhaps
gear
even
will
worse, that
down
partner
into
thinks
place
that
at
this is
300
the
feet
Kryon
altitude.
cult, and you're going here to be served ridiculous things and believe in it.
It's
and
currently
pay for it.
3,500 feet,
So it's time for you to go home.
traveling at a rate of 370
And you go home
miles
to
per
this
hour.
partner, the one perhaps that you fell in love with and that you cherish still to
30
this day in
seconds until
certain ways
touchdown.
that simply doesn't agree with you. And this partner looks at you and smiles. Home from the cult, I see. Did you meet any ETs along the way? And what did the magnetic angel say to you today? And then you will face your partner and strike the
Landing
light.
gear now down in lock.
And that hand will come down and you will say to that partner in all seriousness, but with a smile of endearment, you'll say, the magnetic angel
Gear
told me
touchdown.
this,
Pilot Jim Dutton
that
now
I should
deployed the drag chute.
rekindle the compassion with my partner of kindness, that I should re-fall in love with my partner like the
Nose gear
day I
touchdown.
met them. That's what I was told.
That
And then you
brings
get to
an end
watch
the
your partner melt.
131 mission, the 131st space shuttle flight, and the
With
33rd
words that are
to the
sincere
International
that
Space
they
Station.
wanted to hear from you for a very long time. And they may then think a little differently.
Discovery left Florida on April
you go
5th
to a
with
conference of love.
7.6 tons of new science
They
equipment.
may not
and spare
judge you
parts,
just as much,
including
and if so,
equipment that should improve the station's capability for
you have
Earth
taken that
observation
light
work,
and put it
equipment
right
that could
where you
help
live.
astronauts avoid muscle atrophy, and
That's what the
scientists
light
better
worker
understand
does
muscle
today.
atrophy,
And
equipment
that spreads,
will help
and
keep
people
the
see
station
it.
systems cooling properly.
And eventually that partner of yours may say,
6,
I know you're going to the conference.
3.
I know that I'll miss you for a few days. And I don't know really what happens there. I'm not going to go with you,
Space Shuttle
ever.
Atlantis. Final visit to enhance the vision of Hubble into the deepest grandeur of
But
our
I kind of
universe.
like the way it's changed. Have a good time. That's what light does.
Bypass
This
across
is
the
why
board,
we
shooter, no
congratulate
action.
those of you who are learning
Houston
what
now
this
controlling
means
Atlantis on its
with the
way.
maturity that is available to you. It was not before. I am Kryon, in love with humanity. And so it is.
Atlantis on its way, all 3 now throttling down as the area as the vehicle passes through the area of maximum dynamic pressure.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon
10, 9,
of Magnetic Service.
8. Go for main engine start. 6, 5.
Indeed, this
4,
is the first
3,
message of
2,
2019.
1. And 0.
There are those who would say, well, I'm not really sure how to act
The
during
crest
channel.
of its historic achievements in space.
There are those who continue to say, I'm still not in agreement that it's possible. It doesn't matter.
Houston is now
For just
controlling.
a few moments,
The roll maneuver is complete. Atlanta.
we ask you to be in a kind of meditation,
51.6 degree, 136 by
in a
36
coherence
statute mile
with
orbit.
this message to the degree you might even hear it coming, even before it's spoken. This is a brief time,
And the
and we
three main
wish
engines on
to
Atlanta
honor
have
you.
now been throttled down to 72% of rated
The
thrust.
messages
As
of
the
Kryon
orbiter
have been
prepares to
happening
pass
now
through
for
the
30
area of
years.
maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle in the lower
In fact,
atmosphere.
my partner has deemed this year as the 30th anniversary.
6,
Now, that happens to be the 30th anniversary from when he began to understand
0, and
What was
lift
with
off for the final
what might be
launch of
happening to
Endeavour.
him.
Expanding our knowledge, expanding our lives.
But dear
in
ones,
space.
he had a preparation that lasted longer than that.
Roger roll, Endeavour.
And it comes to this.
Now controlling.
In every single human psyche, you have to make a decision. And that
Atlantis now begins
decision
what is
at
known as
some
the
time in your life
Pre-flare maneuver will
is
pull
whether
the nose
you are
up a little
going
bit
to
right
allow
before
for
it hits the
things
runway.
unseen to at least
Now
be
320 miles
presented
per hour.
in a way that should look. Here's what I mean. The man who
Gears
sits in
down
the
and locked.
chair was an engineer. In some ways, he still is. Well, there's that streak of show me that continues in
Main
him.
gear touchdown.
And it took a long
His
time
nose being now rotated
for
down
him to
toward the
have
runway.
allowance
The chute being
of
deployed.
unusual things. Everyone who listens
nose
to
gear
this,
touchdown.
everyone in the room,
Space Shuttle
has
Atlantis
had to
now
make
comes
these
home to
choices.
the Kennedy Space Center for the final
some of you
time.
made them as children,
25
and
years,
some of you haven't made
32
them yet.
flights, and more than 120 million miles traveled.
And there is no
The
judgment
legacy of Atlantis now in the
of
history
free
books.
choice. There never has been. But there is logic that we present. And we have done it now for 3 decades. And the logic goes like this. Who are you? Really? Are you a product of what you've been told? Or are you one who can think out of the box of what you've been told
Liftoff of the
and do
Delta
one of
rocket
two things?
carrying
Either go out of the box,
blast, a gamma
examine
ray
it, and say, they were
telescope,
right, and come
searching
back.
for unseen physics in the stars
Or go
of
out
the
of the
galaxy.
box and say, you know, there may be some things here to look at. And the box, dear ones, is precious to you. It was precious to my partner because it represented the logic of life. It made sense. It was comfortable. It was not even controversy. The box, dear ones, often becomes that which is most comfortable, what you see around you, what you've been told, what others do, and you don't even realize the box isn't yours. Is it possible, dear ones, that there are things unseen that are far, far larger than anything you've been told? Systems that are larger than anything you've been told? Could it be that even there is a process happening on the planet which is esoteric, which is affecting overall consciousness of humanity? Seen any strange things lately? What is happening on this planet which is new, which is different, which is unusual, which has never happened before? And the And we say to you that this box that you have been in can stagnate very easily as the planet starts to evolve and consciousness starts to change and open. If you stay in that box, you're going to miss it. What does it hurt? To make an agreement with yourself. I'm going to open my box for 2 days. And I'm going to take a look. Now, in a few moments, the scientist Greg will come here. And as is his fashion, he will start a classroom for a little while. And item by item, layer by layer, he will unwrap to you something that is astonishing. What makes it astonishing is that it's science, it has research, and yet you never heard it in school. Here is a scientist who has opened his box to include science and research that points in another direction than anything you've been told. And he doesn't have to sit in the channel, and he doesn't have to go into trance, and he doesn't have to be an entity. All he is a scientist, and the research is positive, and it's there, and he shows it to you. I am telling you something, and the something that I want you to hear very, very clearly is that it won't be long before love is provable, before compassion is seen as the prime directive of Earth. And there is a swing of human nature itself, and science starts to follow it with research. Now, what are they going to find? And I'm going to tell you right now, because I want you to participate in something. I want you to participate in an idea. The scientist Greg will ask the question, is it possible you were here by accident? Did mutant technology from evolution create you? Or was there perhaps strong, amazing intervention that shaped a consciousness of you that actually would allow for a higher power, you call it what you want to find its way as part of your psyche? You want me to say that again? I'll say it in different words. Is it possible that you were not from here and that God is inside of you? The Adam and Eve story, beautiful, metaphoric, real. Read it again. For that story, perhaps that you were told from birth in some cultures, talks about a planet of animals that became human with free choice at a time when an angel came in a beautiful time in a Garden of Eden, which is Gaia, and gave you something you didn't have before. Now that's esoteric. That's spiritual. And the scientist is going to be on the stage in a little while, step by step, leading you almost to that. If there was a plan, if you're not here by accident, what's up? And your box is not going to tell you. Are you interested? So let me tell you what's up. Dear ones, you're in a new energy, and I'm going to call it the energy of magnificence. 2019 is going to be an interesting year. Hold on. It is a catalytic year, and in the field, there are things potentially that may be surprising to you. Humans don't like change. What if I told you these changes must occur the way they occur in order for you to understand that things are different? And maybe, you'll even back off a little in your judgment and stop and assess and say, what does all this mean? Do you think it could involve me? And then you start saying to yourself, what is it that we have learned from Kryon for 30 years? Number one, you were born magnificent on this planet with free choice. Don't buy into the idea that God gave you free choice at the Garden of Eden and then a minute later judged you on your choice. Doesn't make sense, does it? Not logical, is it? Not loving, is it? Not compassionate, is it? You're magnificent. You always were. And the magnificence of your choice is not judged. And in that, there is freedom to find a higher or a low consciousness wherever humanity will go. And what happened in the time that you've been here is that you went past a marker that even the ancients said was important, the precession of the equinoxes, the measurement of consciousness. You passed that, and you're into a new era. And the era is starting to open up and show you things that have never happened before. Light is starting to be exposed in dark areas, showing you things that were never there before. It's new, dear ones, and you're part of it because you're in this room. And that means that you're probably an old soul. What if you've been waiting for this in some form, in some way? And it carries with it not only a realization that you might be involved in something beautiful, in the change of consciousness in human nature, but not only that, you're coming to meetings to hear the ABC of how it works and what is next and what it might mean. You're in the right place at the right time. But more than that, how do you think you are seen by that spark inside you? Wait until you hear about chromosome 2. So special is it, so beautiful, so unusual, so designed it is. What if there is a portal, literally, from your consciousness to the higher consciousness that you call the creative source? Call it what you wish. A source greater than you, which has imbued life even into the galaxy, like yours. And there you sit. And here's what I want to tell you again and again. You are programmed to think you're alone, and you're not. You look in the mirror, and you see one face all your life. It's a trick, because you cannot see out of 4D. Dear ones, you are in 4 dimensions, but reality is in many, many dimensions. It's provable by your own science, who is looking into the aspects of multidimensionality and quantum fields and all of these things, while you sit there and claim there are none. How long has it been since you've analyzed these things to yourself, oh logic one? In 4 dimensions, that's where you build your box. Do you believe in gravity? We'll ask again. And you will say, well, I didn't know it was something I had to believe in. No, you don't, because you're there in it and it works. Tell me what it looks like. What color is gravity? And you will say, well, it has no color. Yes, it does. And if you could see multidimensional, you'd see it. What does the magnetic grid of the planet look like? What color is it? And you will say, well, it doesn't seem to have a color. You're right. Well, does it exist? If it doesn't have a color, that means it doesn't exist, right? Oh, logical one. And you'll say, well, yes, it does exist. Well, perhaps, just perhaps, there are many invisible things around you that are so grand and so beautiful, that honor you, maybe even know your name, see you as who you are, and are with you. Did you know that there is an entourage, literally, assigned to every single human on the planet? Even if you are here as an unbeliever, you know you felt it. You felt it. At certain times in your life, you felt surrounded. Sometimes you have to go into the field or touch a tree or be by the ocean or raise your hands and whoo, there it is. It's all there. Invisible love sitting in your lap. And if it could talk to you, it would talk to you in such a beautiful way. I know your name. I know your name. We love you. We love you. There's so many of us. There's only one of you. And that's on purpose. That's on purpose. And then the next question is, with that going on, have you then taken any part in accessing it? Well, I meditate a little. That's a good start. What if you lived with it? What if you wake up in the morning and you can't see it just like you can't see gravity or magnetics or anything, but around you is the love of the Creator imbued in your DNA. That's why you're here. And you say, thank you for loving me. And in that, dear ones, you have a consciousness that starts to create things around you. Did you know that? Did you know that consciousness by itself is a physical, measurable energy? What if I told you consciousness alone will help you to walk from A to B and be in a different place than if you didn't believe it? What I'm saying is, you actually warp what you call chance when you start to believe in the coherence of consciousness, the field that is around you. You slip into a coherent system, almost, if I can use the word, protective. Because you have compassion, you're hooked in, and it controls where you walk and what you do. There are those who will take that out of context and it'll be laughable and they'll roll their eyes and walk away, never understanding this is the gold that you need to cling to. You are so much bigger than you. There's so much around you. And it's on purpose. Part of the reason it exists isn't just for your healing or just for that which is to have you live longer. I'll tell you what most of it was designed for. It was designed for now. Old soul, you've been on a track to be here for a long time. Light worker, you've been on a track to be here in 2019 for a long time. So that you're an example. When things start to look like they are different or falling apart or negative, and all it is a rejuvenation of what all was there into a better form, you're going to be the one that has to stand there in front of your children and your neighbors and your friends and say, it's a good thing. Look at it differently. I am peaceful in these because we are going to have a change we've needed for a long time. It's going to change the way history works, the way we think. It's going to change our business. It's going to change our politics. It's going to change everything. And eventually we're headed for a planet that will never, ever war with itself. One will be unconscionable to war with itself, to hurt another human being, unconscionable. A higher energy of consciousness, that's where you're going. And you know how I know that? Because I've seen it before. You're not the only one to have had this happen on your planet. That's eye-rolling to many. So talk to me in 10 years. And then reassess, perhaps, whether this is correct or not correct. The ones sitting here are the old souls that have to know about how to control the fear, perhaps, of what an old box would tell you is going on the planet. And instead, a wiser old soul would see the things fall into place and say, yes, I see that. This is going to make some problems. This is going to be uncomfortable. But look where it's going. Look where it's going. Look at the things being exposed. You'll see it this year. Dear ones, I come to you in these ways. Sometimes in a meditative state, sometimes in parables. We're going to do a parable tonight. You'll like it. But right now, this one is about opening, just a crack into the idea that there might be far, far more for you than you ever realized. I'll say it again. God knows your name. A name that is sung in light on the other side of the veil, because that's home. And that's where you're missed. As you come and you go from this planet, your soul, loved beyond measure, part of the divinity of the galaxy and the universe, you spend a little time on earth doing the job you're doing. You're known by God, loved by God, appreciated by God, and always will be. The end is a return to magnificence. Never has it been judgment. That's from Kryon. Use your own discernment in these things, but have allowance for things that might be different than you've been told. I'll be back. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
But I want to begin with harnessing our group coherence. In these last few days, the fear and panic around the coronavirus seems to continue and grow. And when one or more are gathered, their focused intent can make a difference. And I want to ask all of you collectively, with me, to focus our intent on a little place in China called Wuhan. So I want you to focus your energy, connecting in with your heart center on Wuhan in China. And I want you to feel the energy behind these words. I see benevolence there. I see benevolence there. I see benevolence there. And I want you to expand that focus surrounding Wuhan and into China. And I want you to feel the energy behind I see benevolence there. I want you to expand that focus to include Southeast Asia and focus on the energy of seeing benevolence there. And expand that focus to Europe. I see benevolence there. And expand that focus to all of the land within the northern hemisphere. I see benevolence there. And we'll do one more expansion of focus to include the lands in the southern hemisphere. I see benevolence there. And I ask you to put your hand on your heart center to connect in to a situation that really makes us realize we are a global family. We have brothers and sisters in every corner of the globe. And as our hearts connect with every brother and sister, we say these words to each person. I see benevolence there. I see benevolence there. I see benevolence there. And we'll just let that wave of compassionate action and benevolence flow out across the planet from one place to another.
So let us continue the benevolence presence that we are bringing from our hearts, from this day tour, touring through a Gaia land that is full of benevolence, breathing into benevolence, filling our entire being with benevolence, benevolence that is present in every moment of our lives. Whether we see it at the moment or not, it is always there. Let it expand it strongly into our field now. And breathe more through it. Feeling it in every cell of our body, in every cell of our field, in all that we are, and from the source that all that is, that divinity that we come from, that washes us, that loves us, that softens our hearts, that filled our hearts with compassion and love. Breathe more from it. As one group in Iceland, going through sites that we visit of mountains and geysers and waterfalls, allowing the benevolence of Gaia to fill us, to fill our hearts, to fill our mind and body and spirit and soul. Let it be fully present in you now. Feeling the earth beneath you, connecting with all the elements around you, with the cold air and with the snow. Simply benevolence. Just focus on that. Just feel that. Just allow for that to expand in you more. Breathe. Breathe. And breathe through it. And let us open our hearts in benevolence to the other side of the veil, to hear the words of wisdom, honoring, love, and benevolence from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the second message from the beautiful Iceland. The group finds itself in a place where they're not going to be for long. And you might think, well, that's because Kryon is going to make this a short channel. That's not exactly correct. -3 and counting Celsius is the temperature. The sun is going down, and my partner won't last long. There'll be a channel, perhaps some insights every single time we sit and give honor for the process. You're in a pristine place, dear ones, although you might be cool at the moment. I want you to think for a moment of where you are, who you're with. And like so many times before, I'm going to give these channels. That was interesting. Now, my partner had his eyes closed. But I know what just took place. -3 Celsius and swimmers just went by. Barefoot. Must have been Icelanders. Occasionally we'll give themes, and the themes will be short ones, insights And these next 7 channels, this is one of 7, will be that. And we're going to make each theme a letter of the word Iceland, the 7 letters. Some of you, knowing the themes of Kryon, can guess what the letters are going to stand for. But today, we're going to start with I. This one is so difficult because it's a fleeting one. It's not substantive, but dear ones, I want you just for these few moments to examine something with me. There is profundity here when you examine intuition. I have a question for you, and you can ponder it or not. You can think about it seriously or not. What is your intuition about what might be happening within you? Here is the question. Is it possible there's something larger than you, within you, around you? And if so, how would that possibly be true? Science looks at you in a very straightforward, logical way. You have synapse. You have the heart, the brain connection. You have all of these things that the animals do, and yet there is something more. What if this something more is with every single human being? Now, I'm going to tell you something, that up till the shift that is occurring, most of those who would entertain this question are older. These are not questions that you will find the millennials asking themselves until now. Part of the shift is that young people are starting to ask the same question. Is it possible that within the human being, intuitively, there's something bigger? How is it possible? Here we get into a non-linear idea. Non-linear because it is not something that you can itemize. It isn't anything that you can put in a formula. Most of those listening to my voice right now know that when you're afraid that you can call on something bigger than yourself, it's not necessarily even that which is God or that which is above you. It's within you. Sometimes when you're going to sleep, perhaps you could just raise your hand right there where you lay. And in that gesture, you are saying, thank you. Thank you for that which is bigger than me. And intuitively, some of you will get chills. And if you're anxious, you'll feel a hug. If you're afraid, perhaps you'll feel the beautiful arms of Gaia or Spirit or something else encompass you in a way that says all is well. Intuition is real, and it starts to talk to you about something bigger that is inside. Some call it a soul, whatever that means. But then the next question, the one after that, is once you start feeling it, you say, why is it there? What is it for? Is it real? Am I going to have it for the rest of my life? All of these linear questions have to do with something that even Scripture has identified: peace beyond comprehension. Peace that passes all understanding. What is it? Intuitively within you, where you can raise that hand and then all is well. This is what light workers are discovering. But the next question is, what do you do with it? Is it just for you? Is it just so you're going to feel better? No matter what it is, bigger than you, that soul that connection. What are you to do with it? I'll tell you right now. Light worker listening to this, if you believe intuitively that that is real, that there's something so much bigger than you within you, I'll tell you, that allows you to project it all around this world. See benevolence there. Take this light and project it to wherever you think it should be, to soothe the frustrations, to make those be able to go to sleep and say, all is well. That's what it's for. Oh, it doesn't just surround you for you. It's a tool. The longer you live on this planet, dear ones, the more you're going to use it and see it, believe it, and understand how big it is and how beautiful it is. These are the words I give you for the letter I. Intuition about something within you, which is larger than you, that every single one of you have, and collectively, it's enormous. It's beautiful. Think on these things even before you retire this night. And perhaps some of you might even raise your hand as you lie there and say, thank you. Now I'm going to have a great sleep, you'll say. Dear ones, I finished this channel because my partner says, enough. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is a time, dear ones, for you to be in a state which you would call meditation. It's a time where you dedicate your consciousness to altering the normal state that you would have to receive information, to be quiet, to breathe in a different way, to be relaxed, and let information flow. And the information that may flow today may surprise you. For those who have come upon this channeling and don't know what it is, this is one of 5. And it corresponds to that which is a study of what I have described as the Lemurian teaching wheel. Far more information will be given about the specifics and the academia of the teaching of the Pleiadians to those on an island which we call them Lemurian. In an early time, where the slate was completely clean of concepts of God, of spirituality, of beauty, of consciousness. And they could be written on those clean slates of the children. And it begins. And the question would be, what is it that those from the stars who have been through everything for more than 1 million more years than you've been here, what is it that they would tell you? And as you get in to the items one by one that I've given you, specifically wording that they have taught one by one, I want you to put yourself in the place of those who decided that would be taught. You don't talk about it much, and we don't speak of it that much, but way before one planet came to seed another in the beauty and the appropriateness of God's plan, they had to develop what is it they can teach. What is it that they can teach a mind that is not near as developed as theirs? And how can they teach it the best way? And what is it that they would want to emphasize and yet keep the free choice that you were given? And before they could ever teach, there had to be many, many generations of humans so that they would all have the alteration of chromosome 2, the fusing of 24 into 23, so that they would all be the same. Before the teaching could ever begin, chromosome 2 was the one that would absorb it. You see, the Pleiadians are going to want to talk about what's the favorite subject of theirs. A beautiful, majestic, loving, creative source at the center of everything. And that's where they started, dear ones. You don't know. Not really. What could possibly be God? Spirit. If you ask those on the planet, what is God, where is God, how does it work, you'll get as many answers as you have humans you ask. Right now, in the infancy of your consciousness about God and the planet, all you have done is to agree that there must be one. That's all you've done. And that is fairly recent. For many of your civilizations had come to this conclusion before, but always reverted to many. If there are many kinds of civilizations, then there has to be many gods. Over 80% of this planet believes in one God. You are ripe and ready then for the discussion and the consciousness and the realization of what that might mean. And the Pleiadians knew very much that this would be the evolution that you would take because it was theirs as well. So they had to teach something that was pre-evolutionary, if you think about it, to children knowing they would grow up and make mistakes like you have. And yet what they taught you, they also know would stick in your Akash so that it was ready. And if you had the opportunity and the earth evolved like they had thought it would or might, if you had the opportunity, the Akash would eventually awaken to a greater truth. So rather than an earth that sits around and argues about that one God and says to the other civilization, and if you don't worship it this way, we're going to kill you. A little bit of a dichotomy, I would say. You don't have it yet. You don't understand it yet. And then the other parts of the civilization make the one God so human it's dysfunctional. But it's still one God. You see, the evolution of the consciousness of what it actually is a mystery to you. But slowly, dear ones, civilization after civilization and culture after culture on this planet will start understanding and realizing a consciousness of oneness. In other words, if there is one God, there has to be a oneness of all things because God created all things. Eventually it will occur to humanity that there is no separation, and that to separate God into parts of belief is actually childlike. Then they will start to understand and realize that the many religions in the planet can still exist as long as they are compassionate with one another, understanding of one another, and can look at one and say, well, we have our way and you have yours. Isn't it beautiful that we can both love God? And you can stand and hold hands in different outfits, in different ways, in different symbols, and different beliefs, and even different prophets. And you can say they all emanated from one place. Isn't it grand? Perhaps there'll be one song to sing eventually where you hold hands in many religions with many outfits and many symbols can all hold hands and sing one song together that is so powerful that you weep with the beauty of understanding we came from somewhere else. And in the DNA, more and more you discovered that compassion and the teaching and the original information from the source is there. Some will never need the teaching wheel because out will come an intuitive energy right from your Akash, right from that which was implanted in you for this time. Wisdom implanted in you that you haven't seen yet. It's going to happen all over the planet. It already is. There is already a preparation for the idea and the concept that maybe, just maybe, you will meet extraterrestrials who are gentle and benign and smarter and wiser than you. That is just a seed of a beginning idea you simply haven't had before. Because you've made them all dysfunctional like you. Every ET that's supposed to have come to this planet is out to get you. And that, dear ones, as we've said before, is human nature. You see, that's the story of you. These are the things that are starting to change. There is benevolence coming. And the benevolence is human to human. It's an honoring of human to human. And we have told you before that as you look backward and as your grandchildren look into the past and they start to learn about history, they're going to turn to you and say, "You're kidding. You did that?" Everything before 2012, you might even label the barbaric years because of what is starting to happen. And we've told you yet again that these changes cannot happen overnight because humans don't like change. And the kind of changes that are consciousness and benevolence and peaceful and gentle that are starting to come means that some of the ones that aren't that way have got to break down. If you've noticed, they are. Imagine a beautiful kind of government that you put together and you're so proud of, and then you come and you find out, well, what is the attribute of that government? Well, we argue. That's the best you got? Yes. And what do you accomplish? Almost nothing. And why is that? Because we argue. And you say, well, maybe there's something better. And we've talked about that as well. New ideas of making things work in a way that no one has seen fit to even think about are coming your way. How you live will also create what you discover. And the inventions that are coming, we've told you, will change your life in ways you need to have it changed soon. And all of that is not just consciousness. Many of those things come from the climate changes we've told you are coming. All of these things to refresh the life in the ocean. This planet is revitalizing itself. And dear ones, you are at the forefront of that. And there are those who are listening and say, this is a crazy guy talking. He thinks things are getting better. And we say to you yet again, examine the filter where you look at yourselves and others. And examine why it is that all the time, anything you look at, the glass is always half empty. And you'll find that everywhere because that's the human nature that used to be. That's who you used to be. And the past that was is always what you carry as history and throw upon the future and say, well, as it was before, yet it will be again, and here we go. And it's not going to get any better. And that's what you're facing, dear human. You are facing right now an idea, a paradigm that you're going to have to break that says that we know what's going to happen because we know the past. Well, this weekend is a study of a past you don't know. And that past is filled with what the Pleiadians decided to teach you first and what to concentrate on first, the hub. That says you are dearly loved, you are born magnificent, get with it. And everything that isn't that is wrong. That perhaps you ought to look at things again from a different standpoint and sit for a moment and be quiet and breathe and say to Spirit, is this true? Am I really loved that much? And then feel the chills that say, it took you long enough to ask. And then there will be those who start to receive the information that is in their Akash right from the stars. And then the idea, perhaps, that you came from somewhere else and that you actually have Pleiadian DNA will not be so strange. And people will not go running from you when you tell them what you believe. Because science will start to prove it. And then there will be that place, a turning point, where science must get involved in spirituality. Because the study of all things on this planet is the study of how the Creator did it. You can't go around discussing an invention and then telling young people, well, we can't tell you who did it. Don't mention the name. Just study what it is. And now they're going to reveal what happened. It had to be from something bigger than we expect. You're here on purpose. We still don't know why, the scientists will say, but now we have evidence that you came from somewhere else. Do you see how the religions of the planet may have to rewrite some things in order to be more galactic and less gullible? Do you see how God gets much bigger and more benevolent than ever? And this is what we are starting to teach. So as the day begins and the channelings continue, they will be subject-driven by what you decide, dear ones, and what you come up with in your discussions, dear ones. And that is the way it should be. Your free choice is important. And so it is. Hi. Hello, I'm Lee Carroll.
With that being said, let's do a short meditation to prepare ourselves to receive the message from Kryon. And it's as simple as this. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And focus on the area of your heart. Your heart has emotional intelligence. And your heart knows what you wish to do, which is to relax. Find the center of your being. The center of your being is always in a state of peace. Being peace, tranquil, and calm is your natural state of being. And this meditation is to remind you of that natural state of being that is innately yours. And as we connect with our center, we feel the eternal peace because it's connected with our eternal soul. And in gratitude and love, let us now continue to receive the messages from the loving entourage of Kryon that is coming through the veil in a third language being delivered to you.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Each time that my partner brings me to this place, in this, which is a place where many observe, it's different. This is a healing program, and yet it's also a platform to discuss so much that is magnificent about the human being. And so you're going to hear a various array, you might say, of subjects, but they're all going to center on you. We've spoken about the times that you're in, and that will play into this channel a little bit. Because you wonder, is all of this random? This being your existence here, the systems that put you here, past lives, if you believe that? And coming to this planet at this time to experience this, there are many who would say, well, it's too bad I had to be this time, without understanding. This is an appointment you made. You wouldn't have had it any other way. It brings up the whole question of how much control you have over what happens to you. And I don't mean here, because we have discussed that many times, dear ones. We've discussed a reality that you have that is indeed one that you choose, one that you direct. We have told you many, many times that how your consciousness sees the world is how the world becomes for you. This is very difficult for many who say, I see. You mean that I'm not going to step out and have the chance of being run over by a truck like everyone else? And the answer is, you're right, you won't, because your consciousness won't put you in that situation. We have discussed that very thing. Can consciousness field those kinds of issues? And the answer is yes. And we say field those kinds of issues because you are dealing with something called the field. Fielding something means to work with it. You work with a reality so you be in the right place at the right time. Your consciousness, if it's high enough, will direct you there. This is you controlling your own reality, but it's far, far greater than that. That's why you're here. Are there systems, you might ask, that would put you in other places where you have a say about esoteric things? And what would those things be, you might ask? And the answer is everything. How esoteric would you like to get? Well, seeing as though you're listening to channeling, you're already there. The first belief systems on this planet, long time ago, started understanding a staple of existence for you and your soul. And that is that you come and go and come and go and come and go. The soul that you have is eternal, but many of your belief systems today that are supposed to be modern have decided that that soul is somehow linear. It shows up when you're born, and it goes somewhere else when you die, and it goes from A to B, and that's it. Not understanding that that soul of yours has no beginning. It has no end. Because you see, the soul is part of that which is the creative source. It's part of God. So in that there is a system, and that system is past lives and future lives. The system is, if you wish to call it, reincarnation, where your soul reincarnates over and over again. This was the intuition of the first systems on the planet, and even this day, right now, more believe in that system than not. So it's not something that belongs to a few. But let's ask the question, if you believe in these things, what is the system? And in that, how much do you have to say about it? Now, if you buy into what many tell you, you don't have anything to do with it. It's like the king on high directs it. And that, dear one, is linear. It comes from you in a human family. That's what your father would do, or a king would do. That's what government would do. And that's often how you see God. That's not how it works at all. You've heard of collective consciousness. It's more than that. When you're on the other side of the veil, dear ones, you are connected to all that is. Are you understanding that? You may understand the verbiage, but you can't really truly understand it, because that is a connection that is not for you here. You are part of all that is when you're not here. And therefore, there is no committee meeting to decide if you're coming back, when you're coming back, what gender you will be, what you're going to do, who you'll be with, what culture you'll be in, all of these things. There's no committee to decide that. There's no instructions that come down in a book to help you decide that. I've described this many times to you. And yet I want to tell you again, this is more magnificent than you think. It's you, with that which is all the other entities, making instant decisions. If you even want to call them decisions, it's a knowingness of how you will come back, who you will be. We've told you many times that the system of reincarnation is one that honors the human. And that means you often come back in the same culture and the same language, even often the same gender, for many years before there's ever a change. This honors you, for that means that you awaken with an akash that you recognize. The language is recognizable, the culture is recognizable. And as you grow up with certain parents, you're having the same experiences you've had over and over, and it's comfortable, and you fall into a pattern. The entire reason for reincarnation is learning. You might say it is a school of consciousness that creates an old soul. And with many, many lifetimes, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, what happens at the end of that is maturity. And with free choice, you either awaken or not to a grander truth. Welcome to the grander truth. But I want to tell you more about what's happening there. You're part of it there. I want you to understand just how much is involved in this that you have something to say about. Oh, I know what you're going to tell me, Kryon. You're going to tell me that I selected my parents, and you're going to tell me that I selected all the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you, Kryon, there is no way I would have chosen those people. You see, I've been here before, and I've heard you, human being, because you don't understand. You don't understand the system. The system is not about personalities. It's about energy and love and compassion and learning. You will stand there at the wind of birth, seemingly with millions of other souls making decisions at the same time, and you will look and see and understand you're going to come down to this planet and be born perhaps of difficult parents, in dysfunctional families. And the entire reason is because you're going to be the only old soul. And as you start to grow up, you'll have an awakening of knowingness, and they will have not a clue. You understand where this is going? You become their teacher. How do you like it so far? This is what many of you have chosen, and you have to do this, because that is the compassionate way of God. When I say you have to do it, I mean there is no other choice. That is the way of it. That is the road of compassion. That's the road of understanding and maturity. And you will stand there and say, what is the most difficult place? Because there is light needed in this family. I want to come over here and do this and that. And then at the same time, you'll say, and I want to continue being a musician. I want to continue with my artistics. I want to continue to think a certain way. All of that is honored, have you noticed? And musicians become musicians. So the creative parts of you, those blessed, beautiful parts, can continue, even in dysfunctional families. This is more complex than you think. There's this idea that the more lifetimes you're in, the more you graduate, and the nicer life you're going to have. So the more lifetimes you live, the more comfortable you'll be lifetime after lifetime. Let me give you a reality check. The more mature you are and the more lifetimes you have under your belt, the more you can do for the planet when it needs you, especially in dysfunctional places like families who don't know anything about that creative, beautiful source, and you do. I'm talking to so many of you who become what we have called the black sheep of the family. You're not welcome home. But let me tell you something. You have had a huge influence. You've made them think about things. You've made perhaps changes in their Akashic record. Did you know that's possible? You are interfacing with everyone here in a multidimensional, grander way than you think. You're planting seeds everywhere you go. What they do next, the lifetimes they live next, will have you in their Akash as a remembered teacher with things they can never forget, things you've told them that they may disagree with, but then they can see who you are. We've told you before, no matter who says what to you, show them kindness. No matter what names you are called, show them understanding and kindness. No matter what they do because they don't agree with you, even perhaps to disowning you or telling you to go away and not come back, I want you to see what they are going through in their dysfunction because they don't have the love that you do. And treat that accordingly because you have the compassion and the love to look at them and say, no matter what you say or what you do, I love you. And that will change them. It always does. It always does. Oh, you have so much influence on who you are today by appointment on this earth to be right here going through this, old soul. And so it is. Hello, I'm Lee Carroll. You know,